Bringing you caught up on the news, the wreckage of today's trades, and who's still left to trade with. So all that and more on today's episode.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you want to be an everyday, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're going to get caught up on just news and notes, see who's still around to trade with. The wreckage that has been kind of the kickstart here is we're less than, 36 hours as I'm recording this, about 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. So yeah, let's get started with, of course, the big news out of Sharks is William Eklund. Perfectly fine. So he returned to practice today. Sources tell me that the puck actually hit a nerve and he kind of lost a little, kind of feeling in his legs. So that's why he needed help off the ice, because he couldn't feel his leg there. But everything is okay. Not expected to miss a game. So good news there. And the Sharks definitely need Eklund to be in the lineup, kind of going, especially navigating out of this trade deadline. This is going to be a big opportunity for Eklund, and especially if Granlund gets traded, whoever, Eklund could be the 1C for the Sharks going down the stretch here. And we'll talk about Hurdle and Couture here in a minute, but good to see, nothing major there, nothing structurally. Just, puck hit the nerve. Seems to be okay. Return to practice like nothing happened. So that's big news for the Sharks to kind of dodge a bullet there, and especially a year where they've had so much bad luck with injuries. Good to see him, Eklund's still good. So other big news is Thomas Bordeleau recalled from the Barracuda, is on the active roster. A corresponding move, Ty Emberson placed on IR. Emberson laceration was knocked out a couple of games ago. Did not make the road trip, if you remember, but I think it would happen against the Ducks. I'm going to just say the Ducks because the Sharks played the Ducks a couple times here. But Emberson, who's had really strong starts to the season and then has missed time with some injuries, expected to be back in a couple of weeks. I think David Quinn did say 2 weeks is kind of the timeline, the rough timeline that he put on it. So chance for Bordeleau to get an opportunity here. I know some people are, kind of maybe curious about why Bordeleau. A couple things to kind of keep in mind. One, the Barracuda are on a road trip this weekend in Texas. So if people get traded, and you need, again, the Sharks play on Saturday, you need to have enough bodies to play. So better to recall him now. That way he's not on a flight to Texas on Friday. And then, hey, buddy, can you turn around and come back type of situation, right? And we don't know who's going to get traded. And then also if guys get traded, maybe the Sharks take on some bad contracts, whatever. Maybe they're not here quite yet, depending on where they're at. Say if they get traded from the Rangers or, somewhere like on Friday and the Sharks have a game on Saturday, kind of just gives yourself a little bit of breathing room. So that way you're not trying to kind of work things logistically. And worst case scenario is you get to Saturday, you have too many guys on your roster. You could always just paper transactions, send Bordeleau back down to the AHL, and then just keep him in San Jose for the weekend. So plenty of ways to kind of work around it. So, but yeah, Bordeleau, I know they said center. I still expect him to play wing for the Sharks. He's played wing for the Barracuda all season. I think that's where they want him to continue to transition to, is playing wing. So I would expect Bordeleau to play wing. Where he fits in, I think that kind of depends on who's left standing. To be honest, it's hard to gauge. Don't know. I know Thursday is before the Islanders game. Thursday is an optional practice or morning skate, so it's gonna be tough to kind of gauge the line. So we probably won't know where and if Bordeleau fits in until Thursday when the Sharks play the Islanders. So other kind of news of note, Couture is continuing to work. The goal is to try to get him back before the season. I don't know. I'm still lean. I don't think we see Hurdle or Couture for this rest of the season. I know we got about 20 games left, or we got about a calendar month here, a little over a calendar month of the season left. But maybe it's just a mental thing of getting back for Couture. But I would, if I was the Sharks, I would just be like, buddy, just take the rest of the year off. We'll see you in September when you can start holding captain skates and start kind of getting, just let this thing rest as long as possible, and then see where you're at the beginning of training camp. And then you have to make some LTIR type of decisions there, et cetera, et cetera. You can kind of go down that route. And the same thing with Hurdle, right? Yes, I know maybe you want to try to get back by the end of the season. But again, you had a great season before you got hurt. Let's not rush things back for meaningless games at the end of April. We don't hurt yourself some more. I know they said too, if the Sharks were in a playoff hunt, he would probably be playing, but let's look ahead to the 24-25 season, where hope to start to kind of see this team start to maybe make incremental steps, or if you want to potentially trade Tomas Hurdle this offseason, you're not having to kind of, he comes back and maybe he re-hurts himself, etc., and then kind of damages his value. So just that's what I would do. But so it'll be interesting to kind of see. I'm excited. I hope we do see Bordeleau on Thursday night. I assume we'll see him Thursday night, hopefully. Because the Sharks played 11-7. Doesn't seem like LeBanc is going to kind of draw back in right now. LeBanc is of course, in David Quinn's doghouse for whatever reasons, and so I assume we'll probably see Bordeleau, because I don't think the Sharks want to keep running 11-7. I know Quinn said it was their best lineup the other night, but now that you're starting to get healthy guys back, actually, I don't think they ran 11-7. Sorry, they didn't run 11-7 in Dallas. But again, you don't want to kind of continue to do that. And you want to give yourself a little bit of extra cushion here with guys who might be coming and going. And I'm curious to see if we see guys held out for trade-related reasons. I think you would point to Anthony Duclair as a potential guy who could be held out, but we'll see. Speaking of Duclair, also got himself an agent. He said, I foresee myself moving the next couple of days. One interesting note with Duclair is that there's David, the fourth period, David Pagnetta, yeah. He mentioned that the Sharks and Duclair had been kind of working on a potential contract extension. So wouldn't be surprised there if maybe the Sharks don't get the offer that they want. Just trying to re-sign Duclair, especially with how well he's played, kind of this back half of the season. Now that he's kind of, gotten used to it. We will see, but I wouldn't be surprised if Duclair is here after the trade deadline, if the Sharks do make a strong push to try to keep him. Duclair is a UFA after the season, so if he wants to go elsewhere, he's more than that's his own. He can go elsewhere, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Sharks make a strong push to try to re-sign him if he does not get traded at the trade deadline. I think I did say before the season, either one, Barabanov or Duclair would get re-signed. I don't think it's going to be Barabanov right now, who wants to go play for a contender, but we'll see. So I just curious, but so that kind of wraps it up for kind of structure related news. So we're going to go through kind of the wreckage that was today's NHL trade deadline. Just kind of go through some of the big trades that happened today, and then kind of look at which teams are still left looking to try to add pieces. So we'll start with that here in just 1 minute. No matter how the last game went, anytime you take the field, you got a shot at greatness. Give your team the best shot at winning by recruiting more MVPs with Indeed. If you're hiring, you need Indeed because Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Indeed is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applicants that meet your must-have requirements, or else you don't pay. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all. Indeed partners with you on every step of the hiring process. Find great talent through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates with resumes on Indeed that match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. Plus, you only pay for quality applicants that meet your must-have requirements. So, join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your first post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offer valid through March 31st. Go to Indeed.com/lockedon to claim your $75 credit before March 31st. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire, you need Indeed. All right, let's get caught up on the day that was. So as we're recording this right now, we don't know. Hannafin is going to Vegas. We don't know the return right now. That's still being worked on. Apparently, there might also be a contract extension. Who knows? But all right. So yesterday we had Anthony Mantha to Vegas. They with Washington retaining $2.85 million on the 5th. Then the 6th, everyone decided to kind of kickstart the trade deadline here. So Vladimir Tarasenko going from the Ottawa Senators to the Florida Panthers. Sens retained half. They got a 2025 third-round pick and a 2024 fourth-round pick that can be upgraded to a 2026 third-round pick if Florida wins the Stanley Cup. This felt like a very light return, but the thing is, Tarasenko had a full no trade clause, and he only wanted to go to Florida. So the Sens were kind of stuck there with the return because, again, no trade clause. The player owned all the control in that. So, yeah, felt very light. But one thing, though, that kind of gets Florida out of kind of the Anthony Duclair sweepstakes, right? Tarasenko, Duclair, kind of scoring wing, secondary scoring options. So I don't expect the Panthers to kind of be in the Duclair hunt. So kind of big. That's kind of the big takeaway for that. The Avalanche traded for Sean Walker from the Philadelphia Flyers. They also received a 2026 fifth-round pick. The Flyers got a 2025 first-round pick, top 10 protected, and Ryan Johansson, who they quickly put on waivers, and once he clears waivers, is expected to go to the AHL. So Avs kind of not really. I don't think we're kind of sniffing around much for the Sharks, especially in the defense, right? I don't think the Sharks have much defense that they're willing to kind of part with right now, or that would make a lot of sense to part with, or guys that nobody really wants. So then the Avs also turned around and traded Bo Byram to the Buffalo Sabres for Casey Mittelstadt, which I thought was a really interesting move. I'm curious with the Sabres now. They have like 1,000 good left-handed defensemen. I always liked Bo Byram. I know the injury history there, and I was always kind of circling him if the Sharks, I think when we were talking about potentially trading Hurdle to back in the day to Colorado, that was the guy I kind of circled. But you can see where the Avs are really kind of loading up here. And they actually, after these two moves, they actually have more cap space than they did going into today, which is just congrats to them. So they could be potentially in the mix for somebody else if they wanted to maybe add like a Duclair. I think Duclair would make, if they want to continue to add to their middle six, add some more scoring pop there. But we shall see. I'm still kind of maybe crossing them off right now. So another big move. Edmonton acquired Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick from Anaheim. This got a little weird because the Ducks got a 2024 first round pick from Edmonton and a 2025 fifth round pick that goes up to a fourth round pick if the Oilers win the cup. Tampa also retains on the Adam Henrique contract, and they got a fourth round pick out of that, a 2025 fourth round pick that will go to a 2026 fourth round pick in if they win the cup as well. That's confusing, but anyway, Henrique, Carrick, and then Ty Taylor signing rights to the Oilers to kind of make the contracts work. So Ducks now have another first round pick in this draft. Oilers, who had been, it was interesting to kind of see where they would try to kind of upgrade. They added Sam Carrick, who's, defensive defenseman. And then Adam Henrique, who I think is a really nice kind of middle six forward for them, who's going to, I think it will kind of help solidify their third line, is where I assume he's going to kind of go. Especially with that team, just how ridiculous they are down the middle of the top. But, I think for the Ducks, right, you're kind of continuing this rebuild, getting what's probably going to be a late, the way the Edmonton's playing right now, late 20s, mid to late 20s pick, and as they continue to add pieces there. And the Ducks are really, really good at drafting. So I assume they're going to find somebody good there. And the Oilers, again, they're pretty close to being, I think, tapped out. They're very much a cash in, cash out type of situation right now, and had to get a lot of money retained to kind of get this deal done. So, and then deals that we know, Adam Wennberg gets traded from the Seattle Kraken to the New York Rangers, 50% retained. Kraken receive a 2024 second round pick, and then a 2024 fourth round pick that becomes a 20 or conditions follow, becomes a third round pick if Niels Lundqvist accumulates 55 cumulative points over the 23-24 regular seasons. Anyway, what a weird pick condition. So what a weird pick. Anyway, condition. That's so weird. But this one's kind of big because you pictured the Rangers as a potential Duclair spot, and you wonder if maybe this takes them out of that now because as they're trying to, as they've added another piece here. So again, we still don't know. I'm checking right now on the old Twitter sphere. I don't think we still have gotten the actual what the Vegas trade was. So because why would we? But that's happening. It seems like a lot of teams are still, I think that the big piece is going to be what the Pens do. And then there's also the Tyler Toffoli kind of aspect. He's potentially out there. So kind of just more names to kind of dig around. But the Gensel piece, I think, is kind of the last big domino here of what happens. Once Gensel moves, I think maybe that clears the way for a guy like Anthony Duclair as you're, again, trying to figure pieces out here. So we'll get into which teams are now, who's still left to trade with here. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Eating better is easy with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-created, dietitian-approved, and ready to go in just 2 minutes. You have over 35 different options to choose from each week, including Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Also, there are more than 60 add-ons to help you get fueled up and feeling good all day long. What are you waiting for? Get started today and get after your goals. They have 2-minute meals, fuel up fast with Factor's restaurant quality meals that are ready to heat and eat whenever you are. They have pancakes, smoothies, and more. Discover a wide variety of easy options for the entire day, like breakfast, midday bites, and more. No prep, no mess meals. Factor meals are ready to heat and eat, so there's no prepping, cooking, or cleanup needed. They have a flexible schedule, so you can get as much or as little as you need by choosing your meals each week. Plus, you can pause or reschedule your deliveries at any time. So head over to factormeals.com/lockedonnhl50 and use code LOCKEDONNHL50 for 50% off. That's code LOCKEDONNHL50 at factormeals.com/lockedonnhl50 to get 50% off. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood is the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. So get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. Now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% match on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker dealer. All right, so after today's moves, who's still kind of left in the fray? So again, a lot of the same teams are kind of bubbling up here, of teams that are looking for kind of pieces, right? I think again, what happened? I think Gensel's kind of the next big one. It sounds like the Kings, they're trying, maybe looking at Tyler Toffoli. If maybe that doesn't work out, the Kings, who maybe want to add some scoring pop, are still a team that, because they haven't really done too much right now. They are pretty. They do have a little bit of cap space here. Maybe the Sharks could, take back a contract, et cetera. But a guy for like Anthony Duclair, kind of adding to their middle six, could be a potential piece. So I don't care about trading in the division, right? Yes, they're in the same division, but they're not playing the same sport right now. The Kings are in a playoff hunt trying to win a Stanley Cup, and the Sharks are in asset gather mode trying to get whatever potential pieces they can. So I'd be interested to see, that would be a team that I would definitely look at, and they have, this year they're a little bit light on picks. They have their first round pick, who the Sharks, you're not getting Anthony Duclair for first round pick, and they don't have their second or third. They do have their fourth, so maybe this is one where you can ask for a second or third in next year's draft to help kind of build up your war chest for the future. So that's maybe where they lean for that, or maybe you kind of take back, or maybe you throw in a pick to kind of make things a little bit, to help kind of add to that, the allure of maybe getting next year's second round pick. So you're not getting to spend it now, but you're getting it in next year's draft. To, again, try to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit and add some picks for future Mike Grier. So the Kings are definitely a team that I would be looking at there. In Vegas is still trying to add, right? We know Vegas is super aggressive. They still have they still somehow have cap space because they put everybody on LTIR, which is fine, right? And again, as I said yesterday, if the Sharks are in this position, I would hope that they would do the same thing, right? it's a loophole in the system, yes, 1000%. But if you're not taking advantage of these loopholes, then you're not trying hard enough. So when the Sharks are good, I hope that they take advantage of LTIR and are able to kind of do that. But Vegas is a team I would definitely look to try to trade with. They still have their first round pick this year. They don't have a second round pick. Again, we don't know the Hanifin trade. They do have their third round pick this year. They do have their second and third round pick next year. So maybe it's one of those. Again, I don't, maybe you ask for a prospect. I don't know. They're more than happy to trade away prospects. As we know, maybe I know Brisson is kind of getting a little bit up there when it comes to prospect range. I think he's actually he is on the big team right now. And he is a cheap contract, but again, that would be an upgrade, right? And this team is very much, we want to upgrade. If we can find a space to upgrade, we're going to try to upgrade. So again, I don't care that they're in the same division. I'm trying to get the best possible players or best possible assets back from as the GM. So I'm curious with Tampa, who have not done much so far. They've had a pretty quiet. I know, again, they're kind of hurting defensively as they've lost some, Sergachev. But, maybe, and they're such a weird team, right? Because they're kind of in that bubble range right now. I think they're barely in the playoffs. They don't have a ton of picks this year, so they have a third round pick this year. Of course, they don't have their first or second or their fourth. They have their second and third next year. So again, maybe another one of those, and you have to feel like Tampa. Maybe this was the year where we start to kind of see the decline, and maybe they know who they are. And they're just going to be like, if we make the playoffs, we make the playoffs. Cool. If not, then like whatever, kind of maybe take it as a reset type of season. But I'm curious to see what they do as they kind of continue to, as we kind of continue. So, and then the Bruins. I know the Bruins are like right up against it, and I think they're looking for more of a center. They don't have like any picks in this year's draft. So, and I don't know if Duclair kind of fits what they're looking for right now. So here again, the Rangers, I'm so curious about what they do. They don't have a lot of picks now. They only have their first round pick. I think the word is Dolan wants to keep that pick because it's at the Sphere and he owns the Sphere. So who knows there? I wonder if the Stars again, but they also have like their young players who are kind of lighting it up right now. But if they wanted to maybe add another piece, you just saw Anthony Duclair kind of just go nuts against you twice. So that's just another. I'm just kind of trying to look at kind of some of these teams that are up there in the standings and what they're trying to do. And maybe even the Canucks, right? Who apparently they're sniffing around Gensel if they want to add a quality cheap piece to kind of fit in with them. I know they do have they don't have much for cap space right now. They have a third round pick, which becomes they're kind of tough because their third and fourth round pick like this year is a little bit tight because of their conditional picks right now. So you'd probably be looking at next year's second round pick because they don't have a third round pick for the next two drafts after this. But I know like they're looking at Ilya Mekachev. I can never say his name right. Anyway, that's the kind of a guy he's kind of getting paid a lot. Maybe this is where you take on a bad contract from him. He's got 3 years left at $5 million or at $4.75 million. Does have a 12-team no trade clause, but maybe that's where you get that a first round pick in next year's draft to kind of eat some of that contract as you send back Duclair. We'll see. So I'm still plenty of teams left, but we're starting to kind of run out of dance partners here as some of these big pieces go. But I think for Duclair, right? Duclair is kind of the big piece for the Sharks. Is I think once we know what happens with Gensel, I think that's when we'll start to see more movement on potentially Duclair, or maybe he just stays. So that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about the Islanders game. And then on Friday, we're doing a live show sometime after the trade deadline. So probably pencil in again, probably 1:30 or 2 o'clock Pacific time. I'm going to be doing a live show on YouTube, and that will also, when I'm done, go out as a normal podcast. So you're getting a ton of podcasts from me this week. Got some good stuff coming up next week. We have another draft profile already in the bank. We have a Barracuda interview. Don't want to spoil it yet, but that one's already in the bank. So we got plenty of content coming down the pipe. So make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter at MyFryhole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.